how do you go from that to this? So I was playing around with some of my scrap blocks that I make the other day, and I started looking at them just a little bit differently. And it kind of came to me that, well, what if I just took these blocks and made bigger blocks out of them? And then I was thinking, oh, you know, that would be a nice medallion in the middle of a quilt or something like that. And I thought, well, why can't I just make bigger blocks and then just put them all together? So that's kind of where this idea came from. I had all of these half square triangle blocks that I had made, and I was trying to figure out what to do with them. And I was looking for something new and interesting. So I came across this idea, and I was pretty happy with it. I thought, oh, this is kind of an interesting idea. So I started, you know, putting them up on the design wall just to see what it looks like. And this is kind of what I came up with. Hi, I'm Roberta from Quilt Crafters Corner, and I'm a passionate quilter, and I love sharing new ideas and new techniques with you. So I've been working through, you know, all of my scraps. We all have an abundance of scraps, and we're always looking for new ways to use them up and make them purposeful in a good way. So this is kind of what I came up with because I was looking for something just a little different, something new, fresh. So I hope this is something that you enjoy talking about, because I love talking about new ideas that I have and things that I want to try. So for those of you that have subscribed, thank you. I do appreciate it. And for those of you who don't, stick around to the end and you're going to see some really interesting things and you're going to want to subscribe. Also, my quilt composition checklist, there's a link in the description below. Click on that link, sign up, and we will email a copy of that to you so you could have it on your cutting table when you're going through some of these design elements when you're making your quilts. So this is an interesting idea, and I started playing with it, and I thought, wow, you know, this could be something really interesting. So this is kind of what I came up with those last half square triangle blocks that I've been making, and I really like the way that this has turned out. You've got interesting patterns. You know, I've got a nice pinwheel here. I've got a star here. These are all just really super interesting patterns that we can do not only with our scraps, but some of those bigger pieces that we cut off of our quilt backs that need to be used somehow. So let's go over to the cutting table, and I'm going to kind of walk you through kind of my process of what I do and how I do things when I'm playing with these ideas. So let's go to the cutting table and I'll kind of show you what I do. Okay, so here we are at the cutting table, and I've got this one that I've laid out earlier, and it's an interesting pattern too. And there's so many ideas that you can do with this that I thought, well, let's just start playing and see what happens. Believe that looks better. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, see, and this is sometimes, you know, you have to stand back and look at it. That's why I really like putting these up on my design wall so that I can see them and stand back and look at them. And sometimes I even take a picture just to make sure that I've got all of the pieces in the right place. And that is really, really helpful. Now, I like this pinwheel in the center, and the original idea was the star one is what I could do to make a star one. And so that's kind of where I started. And these are all just simple half square triangles. And I just take these crumb squares that I make, and there's just random pieces all sewn together in all different shapes and sizes until I think it's big enough. Now, this is a 6-inch square. This is a 5.5. Normally I would put a 6-inch on here. Now what I do to make the half square triangles, I just put a line down my center, and then I sew on each side and then cut this apart, then I have two squares now. So this is the way that I do my half square triangles. Now the other thing I like to do on my half square triangles is I like to cut them bigger so I can trim them down, because then the points, you get your points right there on the end. You know, when you start to put these together with a nice 1/4 inch seam, you're going to get all of your points. You're not going to lose them, and they just look so much prettier when you have those beautiful sharp points. Now this is one idea that you could do, you know, like I said, the nice pinwheel, and actually this is, you know, a bigger star type of thing, and real simple and easy to do. Let me show you a couple of other ideas that I have that I've been playing with, and these are all just real simple block ideas that is easy to do, and it's just a matter of laying out these half square triangles and then figuring out what looks best to you, because what looks best to you is what you like. So I highly recommend do what you like. It makes it so much easier. Now this is another idea that I've had, and this is, you know, this is just a big square of fabric and just adding these all the way around and just going around the edges. Now this is not a big enough piece of fabric, that's why it's a little off, but you kind of get the idea. No, that's not right. There we go. See, like I said, you know, sometimes you need to stand back and look at these just to make sure that you've got them kind of going in the right directions. Okay, so now there we have a really pretty star. And once again, that's simply and easily made with just the half square triangles. Now, I could fill these corners in with just more crumb squares like this, and then just put this all together. Simple, easy idea, nothing complicated here. And these are just some of the examples, once you start playing, that you get when you start, you know, doing these things. Now I do have these 4 squares, and the other thought was to put these here, and actually what I'm thinking is, now that I looked at it, because it kind of makes a kind of a big X, but the other idea I thought about was getting a darker fabric, something a little bit darker, to put in these squares so it kind of makes that star come out at you, and this is more of a background color or background type thing. Once again, something very simple and easy to do. Just start playing with these blocks and make them unique and your own liking. Now there's many different block ideas that you could do with half square triangles. Now this is a 4 by 4 grid. You know, there's some that are bigger that can be 5 by 5 that this will start to grow and get much bigger. So it just really depends on how big you want to make it and how big it can grow, because it once you start adding blocks to it, it will just start to grow. So these are really simple, easy ideas that you can do with your scraps and use up some of that fabric that we have, you know, over there in that drawer, because that's where mine is. And it just kind of takes up room. So let's get it out, let's use it, and let's create something new, something unique, something that's uniquely you and very individual to you. Now, I've been playing with this, and these ideas of half square triangles are an interesting thing to me. I have like over 30 different designs for half square triangles that you could put together. Plus I have this idea, plus I'm working on more. I'm thinking about doing a workshop maybe later on this month for you to come join me and let's have some fun, learn more about half square triangles, but also what you can do with them just to make them interesting, use up that scrap, and just have fun and play, be creative, and imaginative. So if that's something you're interested, let me know. Leave me a comment. I would love to hear this. And also, I do read every comment and I respond to every comment. So I want to thank you for joining me today because I love doing things like this. It's so much fun. And it's a different way of looking at our quilting and a different way to look at the fabric that we have in our stash that we really need to use up. So thanks for joining me. And until next time, happy quilting.